Hokage get burning art at the start, Chapter 341 to 360. Chapter 341 Surprise and Delight. Although they say they don't like Black Zetsu, but at the same time, they no longer have the previous respect for Kazama. After all, they knew that these subordinates were recruited by themselves. But now Kazama actually indiscriminately beheads Yuhi's subordinates. Although it is said that Kazama does this to prevent these subordinates from killing each other, it can also prevent these subordinates from attacking them. But everything has two sides. Now that Kazama is doing this, it has also indirectly caused the strength of the ninja villages of these 5 countries to fall into a downturn. Therefore, the 4 people, Reikage, Kazekage, Mizukage, and Tsuchikage, immediately said to Kazama with resentment on their faces, "I tell you Kazama, although we surrendered to you before, but now you behead all our men. Then we can no longer surrender to you no matter what." Hehe, I said that you people really like to listen to other people's words. Do you believe what others say? What do you mean by that? Hearing Kazama's words, the 4 cage-level masters immediately looked at each other. I don't know what medicine Fengjian sells in the gourd now. At this time, Fengjian said to them again, "I tell you, if I can kill your men, then I will be able to resurrect your men." Oh, really? This is simply impossible. Hearing Kazama's words, the 4 cage-level masters were both surprised and delighted. Surprisingly, they thought it was impossible for Kazama to have this strength to resurrect others. And if Kazama can really revive their subordinates, then they will naturally be very happy. And at this time, once Black Zetsu saw Kazama, he had the ability to revive the men he killed. This immediately shocked Black Zetsu in his heart. Because Black Zetsu knew that if Kazama really revives the army of thousands of ninjas, then his last plan will fail. Because now as long as Kazejian resurrects these subordinates, these cage-level masters will definitely follow Kazejian to become Jade and Silk. Then there is no way for him to pretend to be in front of the wind. So Black Zetsu laughed in the wind again. "You little bastard in the wind, I don't believe that you have the fucking ability to resurrect these people. You must know that I Black Zetsu is the product of Otsutsuki Kagaya's will, and that Otsutsuki Kagaya is the god of ninjas, and even she has no ability to revive them. These people are resurrected, but now you fucking dare to say that you have the ability to resurrect her. You are a bastard, you are a nonsense." At this time, Kazama saw that Black Zetsu dared to act in front of him one after another. He actually dared to keep yelling at himself. Fengjian was naturally furious in his heart, and he was furious. Although the Wind Room is a very good-tempered person. But Kazama couldn't tolerate this Black Zetsu constantly cursing in front of him. So Kazama looked at it with one hand, and the wisp of Emperor Yan rubbish blocked Black Zetsu's mouth. The burning Black Zetsu rolled on the floor. But even so, Black Zetsu couldn't escape the shackles of the wind. Because Fengjian had already wrapped the different Fire Emperor flames around Fengyan's body. And with the power of this Emperor flame, it can completely burn that Black Zetsu into nothingness. Chapter 342 Abuse Black Zetsu. But Kazama had already made up his mind, and it was impossible for Kazama to die so happily. Therefore, the Wind Room should slowly torture the Wind Room to death. At this time, the wind immediately displayed the flame of the soul. In a face-to-face effort, the thousands of ninja army who were burned to death by these Yuanbei were resurrected. At this time, those Black Zetsu thought that the 4 cage-level masters thought that Kazama was talking big. But now I can see that the wind really has the ability to bring everyone back to life. Black Zetsu was instantly speechless. And those cage-level masters are overjoyed in their hearts. So these people also felt that they had indeed wrongly blamed Kazama before. Therefore, he hurriedly bowed his hands to the wind. "I said little brother Fengjian, we were all wrong, we had eyes but didn't know Mount High, and we didn't know gold inlaid jade before, so we underestimated you, we are really useless, bastards, please leave us alone. Yeah, please don't attack us and don't get angry. Hehe, I said that you people are changing faces really fast. When did I say that I would attack you in the wind? Seeing these 4 cage-level masters keep kowtowing to him and begging for mercy, Fengjian immediately smiled and waved at them. Although the wind was indeed a little angry before, they misunderstood themselves. But Kazama is not the one with a bloodthirsty streak. Therefore, it is impossible for Kazama to really attack them. So now a face-to-face effort. Kazama immediately led the 4 cage-level masters, as well as Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara and others, to Black Zetsu. At this time, Black Zetsu saw that Kazama was not only capable of killing these thousands of ninjas. It even has the ability to bring these ninjas to life. That Black Zetsu immediately fell out in a cold sweat. Because Black Zetsu has lived here for thousands of years, he has never seen such a powerful character as Kazama. Therefore, Black Zetsu immediately said to Kazama with a shocked face, "Who the hell are you? Why do you have the ability to bring the dead back to life?" Clap clap clap. Before Black Zetsu finished speaking, Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara immediately rushed to fight and kicked Black Zetsu. After a few face-to-face efforts, the Black Zetsu was bruised and bruised. Although Black Zetsu can't feel pain, because his body structure is very special. But Black Zetsu did feel humiliated. Therefore, he was immediately furious. But even if he gets angry again, it is of no use at all. Because Fengjian is now using Emperor Yan to surround him. At this time, Kazama said to Black Zetsu again, "I'll tell you, you don't need to tell me who I am in Kazama, because my brothers will naturally tell you, and besides, I am a righteous person. Since I am righteous human, then I naturally have the ability to bring the dead back to life, and a bastard like you who is afraid of chaos in the world, naturally I can't kill you easily." As Kazama spoke, he immediately cast the Emperor Flame again and penetrated Black Zetsu's body. The burning Black Zetsu was screaming and gnashing Kiba's teeth in anger. So he immediately yelled in the wind, "You little bastard in the wind, if you have the guts, I will kill you right away. If you don't have the guts, then you will eat shit." Chapter 343 Become the Overlord of the Ninja World. Stop giving me shit. Kazama didn't like swearing, but now Kazama sees this Black Zetsu constantly pretending to be in front of him. So he immediately cast his super awesome Emperor Yan again. After a few face-to-face efforts, the Black Zetsu was burned to the brink of death. And then just as that Black Zetsu was about to die, Kazama immediately cast 3,000 flames of flame to bring the Black Zetsu back to life. This made Uchiha Madara, Senju Hashirama and others puzzled. They all knew that Black Zetsu was a heinous person. Why did Fengjian save him again? Therefore, the two of them asked the rubbish towards the wind. "I said, little brother Kazama, now why don't you just kill this Black Zetsu?" "It's very simple, because Black Zetsu is a heinous person who is full of evil, and I can't bring it to death so easily." At this moment, as soon as Kazama's voice fell, he cast Yan again and burned the Black Zetsu to the brink of death. Afterwards, the old trick was repeated, using 3,000 flames of flame to restore Black Zetsu's body. Just like this, one after another, the Black Zetsu had been beaten to death. At this time, Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara saw that Kazama's methods against the enemy were so sharp. This naturally makes them admire. They also finally understood the intention of the wind. That is to deal with a heinous bastard like Black Zetsu, it is naturally impossible to kill it easily. Instead, he must continue to abuse him, and his body will be completely tortured, so that it can grow to memory. At this time, Black Zetsu was tortured by Kazama and couldn't even speak. After a face-to-face effort, Fengjian completely burned it into nothingness. And at this time, Uchiha Madara, Senju Hashirama and others, once they saw Kazama's strength is so awesome. Immediately, they all fell to the ground with the 5 bodies that Kazama admired. Then, they all invited Kazama to master and the others in the ninja world. Let Kazama become the overlord of the ninja world. But Kazama knew that he was not from a parallel world now. He still has a more important task, which is to return to the real world and help everyone resist the aggression of the Otsutsuki clan. After all, the Dao clan, Jin clan, and Fu clan and the Datong Mu clan will soon come to Earth. That's why Kazama now has to work so hard to obtain the 23 kinds of different fires. Its purpose is to enhance its strength to the top. Otsutsuki can be easily hanged. So Kazama immediately explained the situation to Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara and others. Although it is said that everyone is not very clear about what Kazama said about the real world and the parallel world. But they knew that what Fengjian said was true, and they also knew that Fengjian had more important things to do. So there is no need to stay in the air. Instead, he said solemnly to Fengjian, "Little brother Fengjian, if you want to leave, we will not stop you. After all, we know that you must have important things to do, but as long as you have nothing to do in the future, we still hope you can come to us and have a drink with us." Yeah, there are a few people I don't admire in Uchiha Madara, even Senju Hashirama I don't pay attention to him, but now I admire you very much, so you must come back to visit us often. Chapter 334 Back to the Present. Hearing what everyone said, Kazama immediately nodded happily. Then he took the time machine again and returned to the real world. But at this time, the wind did not expect that he was in the parallel world for just a few days. In the real world, decades have passed. Now Kazama has returned to the real world. Only then did I realize that Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura and others, who were the same age as me, were all married and had children. This can suddenly make the wind a bit dumbfounded. At this time, Naruto is already the 7th generation of Hokage who has become a serious child. Originally, Naruto was supposed to be the 6th Hokage in that order. But since the 6th generation of Hokage is reserved for Kazama. But everyone has waited for decades, but no trace of the wind has been found. So in desperation, the 7th generation of Hokage, which is Naruto, was reformulated. Although Kazama has never been a 6th generation Hokage, he has never been in power in the 6th generation Hokage. But everyone is still very grateful for Kazama's feat of saving the entire ninja world. Therefore, everyone still engraved the appearance of Kazama on the surface of the Hokage rock. After all, everyone's heart is full of gratitude in the eyes of falsehood. And just as soon as Kazama returned to Konoha, he came to Hokage Naruto's office. At this time, Naruto was very busy with Hokage's affairs. As soon as he saw the arrival of the wind, he was immediately incoherent with joy. Moreover, after seeing Fengjian for decades, he still looks like he was 18 or 19 years old. This suddenly shocked the Naruto even more. So Naruto immediately asked Kazama in surprise. "I said Kazama, why are you still so young after all these decades?" This one. At this time, Kazama also somewhat realized that he had stayed in the parallel world for dozens of days before. In reality, decades have passed. So Kazama is naturally different from Naruto and their time experience. So Kazama immediately told Naruto about this. It's a pity that Naruto is an elm knot and can't turn around for a while. Therefore, he can only scratch his head in embarrassment, indicating that he does not understand Kazama's words. Then Naruto was swept into the wind again and said, "Anyway, you are my good brother now, and besides, our Hokage position is reserved for you. And because you haven't shown up for many years, so say I only became the 7th generation Hokage, but now that you are here, I will automatically step down and let you continue to be the 6th generation Hokage." Absolutely not. As soon as he saw that Naruto actually wanted to take the initiative to let Shion, the wind immediately shook his head into a rattle. "Why is that? Didn't I say Kazama wanted to be the Hokage since you were a child?" Once Naruto saw Kazama rejecting his proposal, he was not in a hurry. After all, Naruto knew that Kazama was the same as his dream of becoming a Hokage. And Feng Mingren also knows that Kazami is more qualified to be a Hokage than himself. After all, Kazama's strength is one of the best in the entire ninja world. It was also Kazama who foiled the Black Zetsu conspiracy by himself. If there is no Kazama, then their entire human world will probably be controlled by that Black Zetsu. Therefore, the win to be this Hokage, it is well deserved. But Kazama also knows that what Naruto and Hokage have done during their reigns are very good, and they are also relied on by everyone. Chapter 345 Arrogant Blogger. If it is said that he recklessly replaced Naruto as Hokage, then it is bound to make those who do not know themselves feel bad about themselves. Hokage in that parallel world before. He even became the overlord of the entire ninja world. So Kazama doesn't care about the dispensable title of Hokage. So Kazama immediately smiled and said to Naruto, "It's very simple," I said. "Naruto, the position of Hokage is only for people who are recognized by everyone, although everyone recognizes me very much now, but after all, I am the number one. I haven't appeared in front of everyone for 10 years, so now the new generation of ninjas in Konoha village don't know me. I can't be rash and be this Hokage. Besides, whoever is a Hokage is the same. As long as he thinks about everyone, then he is a serious Hokage." Well said. Hearing Kazama's words, Naruto immediately gave him a thumbs up. I said, "Kazama, now that you've finally returned to Konoha, then you have to have a drink with me. You won't go home if you don't get drunk." As Naruto spoke, he immediately invited Kazama to be a guest at his home. Konoha for decades. But Kazama knows Hokage manga very well. Therefore, as a transmigrator, he naturally knows that Kazama is now married to Hinata, and has a son and a daughter. As for Sakura, she is naturally married to Sasuke, a childhood sweetheart, and has a daughter named Sarana. Seeing the happiness of everyone's life, Feng Jian was immediately overjoyed. But what Ling Feng didn't expect was that Naruto's son, Bo Ren, was a very rebellious person. And this blogger is also a character who is not afraid of the sky. Even for his own father, Naruto, who is Hokage, this blogger is very dissatisfied. So now I have seen Naruto bring Kazama to his home as a guest. The Bo person immediately looked up and down at the wind room. Then he rushed to the wind again and said, "I often heard my father mention you before, how awesome and powerful you are, and that you saved the entire ninja world by yourself. I always thought my father was talking nonsense." "Oh, since you think your father is talking nonsense, then you'll keep your head down, because there's really nothing special about me." Kazama naturally didn't want to pay too much attention to the little brat, Boren. But Bo Ren is a very stubborn guy. As soon as he saw Fengjian say dispensable things, he immediately became even more angry. So I immediately prepared to learn from the wind. This immediately made Naruto quite embarrassed. So Naruto immediately said to his son, "What are you doing now? You must know that Kazama is our guest, and Kazama hasn't returned to Konoha for many years, so how could it be possible to discuss with you as soon as we meet? What? Besides, with your ability, how could you possibly be Kazama's opponent? Stop giving me nonsense." At this time, the Naruto had not finished speaking, and the blogger immediately resisted Naruto. At this time, Fengjian never expected that this blogger was so arrogant and domineering. "How dare you speak to your father like this?" Therefore, the wind immediately felt a little angry in his heart. Chapter 346 Hanging Bow and Zorana. After all, Kase is a very filial person. In addition, Fengjian also looks down on arrogant and domineering little devils like Boren. So the wind immediately smiled and said to him, "Okay, since you like to discuss so much, then I will discuss with you. It is also an appetizer before our meal." "Okay, if that's the case, then listen to what you have to say." As soon as Bo Ren's voice fell, he immediately sneered at Feng Xian at Feng Jian. Then a face-to-face kung fu, without even the handprint, cast Suiten, Water Style, Raiden, Thunder Style, Doden, Earth Style, Futon, Wind Style, Kaden, Fire Style towards the wind room, a total of escapism with 5 attributes. This sudden change suddenly shocked Naruto and Hinata in their hearts. They never expected that their son Boren would become so awesome now. Without even needing to pick up the seal, he unleashed 5 types of attacks. You must know that the escape technique that can display the 5 attributes is already possessed by the strength of a Kage-level master. At this time, the scenery was not afraid at all, nor did he feel any surprise. Because Kazama knew that in Boren's era, there were scientific ninjas. Now, the reason why Boren can cast 5 attribute attacks at once without using hand seal. It was because of the scientific ninja gear on his right hand. Therefore, it is said that bow talents will become so arrogant and so powerful. It's just that this scientific ninja is awesome. Kage-level Master Kazama, it is very garbage. Therefore, when Fengjian raised one hand, a strange fire knocked the attack of the 5 attributes of wind, thunder, water, fire, and earth into nothingness. Then this strange fire was even more powerful, and it killed the Boren again. This sudden change, but the man who came to him was shocked. Then he took a few steps back and slumped on the ground. At this time, the strange fire in the wind was less than half a meter away from the blogger. Then the wind stopped the strange fire on Bo Ren's forehead. Then he smiled at the blogger and asked, "How is it, are you convinced now?" Although Bo Ren was knocked to the ground by the wind, he was still full of dissatisfaction. At this time, Naruto knew the strength of Kazama very well. Therefore, he immediately said to the blogger, "Okay, blogger, how can you beat Fengjian? After all, Fengjian is stronger than me." And after Naruto heard his father Naruto's words, he didn't take it seriously at all. Then he cast Shadow Clone again, killing the past towards the wind. At this time, Feng Shi saw Bo Ren's stubbornness. I decided to teach bloggers a good lesson. So the face-to-face kung fu in the wind flashed behind Bo Ren. This is not the fact that Kazama used the power of the sky, but Kazama used the technique of instant body. Because for a kid like Boren, Kazama didn't plan to use the awesome trick of heavenly hand strength. After all, if you use the hands of heaven to deal with bloggers, wouldn't you use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken? At this time, Boren felt furious in his heart as soon as he felt Fengjian coming behind him. After all, the first rule of the ninja code is that you can't leave your back to the enemy. But the Boren was about to turn around and fight back when he was knocked unconscious by the blow from the wind. To create the wind room now only uses 1% of the power. If the wind room exhausted all means, then I am afraid that a face-to-face effort will be able to separate the corpses beaten by Taibo people. At this time, Naruto and Hinata also knew that Kazama was merciful. So he immediately apologized for the embarrassment of Kazama. "Fengjian, I am really sorry, our son is so stubborn, that's what surprises you." "Hee, it's okay, isn't that the case with children?" Kazama said, and immediately nodded at Naruto and Hinata with a smile. But when they were waiting for the others to enter the house for dinner, Boren's teammate Yu, who is also Sasuke's daughter Sarana, just happened to be here. Because that Zoriana has long heard of Kazama's deeds. Now seeing Fengjian so easily knocked the blogger to the ground. So Zorana immediately prepared to fight for the blogger. At this time, Naruto was so stubborn when he saw that even the girl Zorana was so stubborn that Naruto was embarrassed. Then Naruto rushed to Kazama again and said, "I said Kazama, but I really have nothing to do. After all, this is also the daughter of our teammate Sasuke. If you don't dislike it, teach her a good lesson. Let them know your true strength, so that they will not dare to continue to be arrogant in front of you." "Haha, no problem, I like to teach juniors the most." At this time, Nezurana didn't know that Kazama's top pupil technique was Kutomo's Samsara Sharingan. So Zorana immediately turned on her Kutomo's Sharingan, ready to shock Kazama. But she didn't expect that now her Kutomo Sharingan has been opened. The Kazama actually cast the Sharingan of the 3 Tomo. This suddenly scared Zorana back a few steps. At this time, Zorana didn't realize what was going on. Demonic illusion by Kazama, and then a face-to-face effort made Nezurana slump to the ground in fright. Kazama didn't even move his hand at this time, and demonic illusion alone had already beat Nasurana without a chance to fight back. Zorana also immediately understood that Kazama's strength is indeed very high and very powerful. I also understand that the confrontation between myself and the wind is simply hitting the stone with the egg. So he hurriedly apologized to the wind. And Fengjian will naturally not be angry with them. After all, they are all little devils to Fengjian. How could an adult in Fengjian be angry with some little devils? So it was Fengjian who waved at her with a smile. At this time, Naruto also immediately invited Zoriana to come to his home for dinner, to wash away the dust together. But what everyone did not expect was that now they were just about to return home for dinner, when even heard Konoha sounded the alarm. Kazama, who is a Konoha ninja, knows very well what this warning means. The enemy invaded. Is it the Otsutsuki trio? It came so soon. Fengji was shocked at this time, and immediately said secretly. Chapter 347 The Five Shadows of the New World. So the wind made a face-to-face effort, and immediately flew to the periphery of Konoha. What the wind did not expect at this time was that it was not the intruder that triggered the alarm now. It was the leader of the other four big country ninja villages, which suddenly surprised Kazama. At this time, Naruto hurriedly came to Kazama with a smile, and said to Kazama, I said Kazama, you have been away from the village for too many years, you don't know, now our alarm has been changed, now the original alarm sound is the sound of warm welcome, because it is the first time that our 5 major countries have jointly organized the Chunin exam, so the village of Kurigakure in the land of water, the village of Iwagakure in the land of earth, and the land of thunder Kumogakure village, Sunagakure village in the land of wind. All these leaders have come to us. Quote. Oh, so it is. I thought it was the Otsutsuki trio who came early. Hearing Naruto's words, Fengjian immediately said secretly in his heart. But as soon as the wind just finished speaking, he was shocked again. Because he suddenly remembered that this trio of Otsutsuki would attack Konoha village on the way to Chunin's exam. It seems that since the Chunin exam is about to start, so now it's only a matter of time before the Otsutsuki trio kill. Therefore, Fengjian was naturally shocked in his heart. However, although Kazama was frightened now, he did not feel any fear. After all, Kazama has now obtained 23 kinds of different fires. And Kazama also has that 9 Tomo's Samsara Sharingan. Better than Rinnegan from the Otsutsuki trio. So Kazama knew that as long as this trio of Otsutsuki dared to come, Kazama could keep them coming and going. At this time, the other 4 cage-level masters also flew to Kazama. These 4 people are also the former companions of Kazami, and they are also inextricably linked with Kazami. Example, Mizukage Terumi Mei. It was Kazama who saved his life and then helped her, so that she could become that serious Mizukage. And the 4th generation of Tsuchikage Kuretsuchi, the granddaughter of the first 3 generations of Projection Onoki. And Gaara is the youngest except Naruto, so now he is still the 5th generation Kazekage. Now these people are seeing the wind for the first time in decades, and they are naturally extremely happy. So he immediately asked Kazama where he had been all these years. And Kazama wanted to tell them the truth. However, Fengjian's ability to travel through time and space is mysterious. Even if he said it himself, I am afraid that these people will not be able to understand for a while. Therefore, Kazama immediately laughed and laughed, covering up the matter. At this time, the followers behind the 4 cage-level masters are also today's new generation of ninjas. At this time, these ninjas were surprised when they heard that Fengjian was the hero who saved the entire ninja world. Immediately, he looked up and down in the wind room. They saw that Kazama was so young now, and his strength was so superb. Naturally, he admired the wind in his heart. You must know that their previous idols were all leaders of their own villages. But now seeing the appearance of Kazama, their idols turned into a face-to-face kung fu, and this is the charm of that person in Kazama. Chunin exam with him. Chapter 348 One person singled out 5 shadows. Although Kazama is not Hokage now, Kazama's ability has surpassed everyone present. Therefore, Kazama is qualified, capable, and obliged to attend this meeting. At this time, Naruto suddenly wanted to take another matter, and then he smiled again and said to Kazama, "I said Kazama, I remember that you didn't pass the Chunin exam, because when we took the Chunin exam, Orochimaru it's a mess, so our Chunin exams have been abandoned halfway, and then you have been performing tasks outside all year round, so you should still be a genin by now, right?" Seeing that Naruto didn't lift the pot, Fungian immediately scratched his head in embarrassment. At this time, cage-level masters such as Gaara and Terumi Mei, once heard that Fengjan is so powerful now, are still just a genin. This suddenly made them a little dumbfounded. Then Naruto smiled again and said at the stroke, "I said Kazama, now that our 5 ninja villages have jointly launched this Chunin exam, then why don't you come to take it too?" How can this work? Hearing Naruto's words at this time, Kazama didn't speak, but the other 4 cage-level masters immediately shook their heads into rattles. Oh, why is that? He saw that the 4 cage-level masters rejected his proposal to take the Chinese exam. Kazama smiled knowingly. "It's very simple, because I said Kazama, now your strength is so awesome and so superb, if you also took the Chunin exam, wouldn't that make it impossible for us ninjas who could have advanced?" "Yeah, I said Kazama, now this Genin, Chunin, or Jonin is just a title, and now your strength has already surpassed all cage-level masters, so now I think it doesn't matter if you participate or not. Hee, everyone, I'm just making a joke for you." At this time, Naruto saw these 4 cage-level masters in such a frightened state, and immediately waved at them with a smile. At this time, Naruto said to them again, "Everyone, since it is the first time that our 5 major countries have jointly held the Chunin exam, then we might as well have a pre-match appetizer." "Oh, what's a pre-game appetizer?" Upon hearing Naruto's words, Terumi Mei and other cage-level masters immediately became interested. "It's very simple, as we all know, Kazama is the hero of our 4th ninja war, and Kazama has saved us and repelled the enemy's conspiracy by himself. Since this is the case, then we might as well follow Kazami. This is a performance where 5 of our cage-level masters play against the wind alone, so that everyone can see the ability of the wind, and let everyone see what a genius is. Only then will they work harder." "Not bad, that's a very good idea," Wayang said, and immediately looked at Kazama with eyes full of anticipation. And the wind also smiled at this time, non-committal. Because he also knows the true purpose of Naruto and others. Although it was an appetizer on the surface, Kazama knew that the 5 shadows really wanted to be able to play against each other. After all, Wayang has been around for decades, and their strength is also very powerful and very powerful. Naturally, they also wanted to see how much the wind was different from themselves and others. Chapter 349 Thousands of Real Hands. And Fengjan saw that they were so enthusiastic, and naturally did not want to refute their face. In addition, Kazama also wanted to try out what tricks Naruto these 5 shadows have learned after so many years. So Kazama immediately nodded in agreement. And at this time, the news that Fengjan wanted one person to fight against the 5 shadows spread. Immediately, all the ninjas in the 5 kingdoms were shocked. Some were timid and even fell out in a cold sweat. Some Kazama's admirers even directly worried about Kazama. They thought that no matter how awesome and powerful Fengjan was, he was just a person. How can it be possible to beat these 5 cage-level masters? If you want me to say that we should hurry up and jointly sign a letter, we can't let Fengjan fight against Wayang and others. After all, Wayang's strength is very powerful, very powerful. Hee, I said you people are really frogs in the well. At this time, those ninjas who valued Kazama very much immediately said to these people with a smile. You don't know, the strength of the wind can be seen to be very powerful and very powerful. But no matter how good you are, your 2 fists can't beat your 4 hands. I don't believe that this little brat in the wind can beat this 5 shadows. At this time, those ninjas who looked down on Kazama and thought Kazama was pretending to be a force immediately began to laugh at Kazama. At this time, Borin, Zuorana and the others were shocked when they heard that Fengjian was going to fight against the Five Shadows. Because the two of them had seen the strength of the wind before. Although they didn't know what the result of Kazama's battle with the Five Shadows would be. But they know that even if the wind can't beat the Five Shadows, the Five Shadows will definitely not be able to beat the wind. Therefore, Zyborin and Zorana immediately scolded these people who looked down on Kazama. Even if you look down on Kazama, you can't just laugh at Kazama, because Kazama is the hero of our ninja world, otherwise our Konoha village will never spare you. At this time, those ninjas were so frightened that they fell into a cold sweat when they saw the arrogant and domineering Shaoqiangs of Konoha such as Borin and Zorana. Naturally, they didn't dare to argue with Boren and others anymore. After all, they are now in Konoha's territory, so they don't dare to be too arrogant. At this time, the wind and the Five Shadows have come to the middle of the venue. At that time, following the referee's order, Naruto and the other Five Shadows immediately launched their trump cards. At this time, Naruto's face-to-face effort immediately cast Kurama mode. At this time, Kazekage, Mizukage, Tsuchikage, and Reikage also exerted their killer skills. And at this critical moment, another figure suddenly came to the Five Shadows. This person is Uchiha Sasuke, who has been collecting intelligence all the year round. At this time, when Sasuke Uchiha saw Kazama's return, he was naturally very excited. In addition, he also learned that the Five Shadows in the Wind Room are going to learn from the Wind Room. Naturally, he also wanted to test how powerful Fengjian was and how powerful he was. Therefore, Sasuke immediately did everything he could to help Naruto and the others to kill the wind. I'm the eldest brother of Kazama, don't be angry. We just want to see how awesome and powerful you are now. No problem, I have always been a soldier in the wind, and flooded with water. Seeing that Sasuke also joined the battle, Kazama burst into laughter in his heart. Chapter 350 Buddha on the top. A face-to-face effort, he immediately cast his god-level Susanoo. Then he used the 6 artifacts to fight Wying and the others. At this time, the crowd watching saw that Kazama alone could fight Wukage and Uchiha Sasuke indistinguishably, which shocked everyone. At this time, Naruto didn't know that Kazama didn't use all his strength. Therefore, once he saw that the 6 of his own were tied with the wind. I thought that the strength of myself and others now is very powerful and very powerful. Therefore, he immediately smiled at Fengjian and said, I said Fengjian, it seems that the strength of not seeing you for many years has not declined at all, but our strength has also improved a lot, so now I need to use it to be stronger. The ultimate trick, the multiple shadow clone technique. As soon as Naruto's voice fell, he immediately cast hundreds of clones. At this time, the hundreds of clones also immediately cast the Kyuubi, Nine Tails chakra mode. At this time, everyone in the audience was in a boiling state. Because everyone knows Naruto's strength very well, and also knows that Kazama is the power of Kyuubi, Nine Tails Jinchuriki column. It is the power that can fully exert Kyuubi, Nine Tails. Therefore, some of the people who looked down on Kazama laughed at Kazama again. Everyone, if you want me to say that this time in the wind, there is no doubt that I will lose. Oh, why is that? It's very simple, because don't you see it now? That Naruto is the Kyuubi, Nine Tails Jinchuriki column force, but he can fully use the Kyuubi, Nine Tails chakra. How can it be possible now Kazama whereas his opponent? And just when everyone thought that the wind would definitely lose. Thought that Kazama was actually a face-to-face kung fu, so he immediately cast thousands of Mokuden wood-style clones. And these Mokuden wood-style clones all cast the full-body Susanoo. Although it is not a god-level Susanoo, these complete Susanoos alone are enough to suppress Naruto's current Kyuubi, Nine Tails chakra. At this time, Naruto and the other 5 shadows never expected that after so many years in the wind, their strength is still so strong. Be able to display thousands of Mokuden wood-style clones is far beyond the expectations of Naruto and the other 5 shadows. At this time, Naruto smiled again and said to Kazama, I said Kazama, I remember that when you fought against us before, you never used so many Mokuden wood-style clones. Haha, after all, you are the 5 shadows. Hearing Kazama's words, Naruto laughed again. Since this is the case, can I understand that now you have been cornered by me and us? That is to say, if you don't cast your clone, then you will definitely be defeated by us, right? Hee, Naruto, you really like to be optimistic. Well, since you really think that I will be defeated by you if I don't use my clone, then I won't use my clone now, so I'll let you see my true strength. What? Real strength? What do you mean? Naruto originally thought that Kazama had used his true strength. But he didn't expect that Kazejian didn't show all his strengths now. This is naturally shocking. At this time, Naruto hadn't reacted to what was going on. Seeing a face-to-face effort in the wind, he immediately put away his avatar. Even the full-body Susanoo was put away. Chapter 351 So Arrogant. Hee, Kazama, now that you put away these Susanoos, then we won't be afraid of you anymore. At this time, Sasuke immediately used his full-body Susanoo to kill towards Kazama again. Okay, since that's the case, then let you see my true strength. Kazama smiled coldly, and then immediately cast the Super Mokuden wood style of Senju Hashirama that he had learned in the parallel world. Thousands of real hands turned into Buddhas on the top. At this moment, with a roar from the wind, the Senju Buddha, which is comparable to a tailed beast, instantly appeared among the crowd. All the onlookers were shocked. Some were timid and even fainted with fright. After all, they have never seen such an awesome and powerful ninjutsu. At this time, Naruto and the other 5 shadows were also stunned by the current Mokuden wood style in Kazama. Hokage Tsunade, which had been relegated to the second line, was also stunned. After all, these thousands of real hands are the secret techniques that her grandfather Senju Hashirama can only perform. At this time, Naruto and the other 5 shadows still hadn't reacted to what was going on. Kazama immediately cast the top of the Buddha, defeating the 5 shadows and Sasuke in a row. At this time, even Naruto in Kurama mode was beaten by Kazama's current technique and was powerless to fight back. At this time, the wind then used thousands of real hands to surround the crowd. Then he said to the crowd again, how is it? Are you satisfied with your strength now? I'm convinced, we're very convinced. At this time, Naruto, Sasuke, and the other cage level masters immediately bowed their hands to Kazama. You must know that they really feel the terrifying strength of the wind now. At this time, Naruto suddenly thought that the most powerful thing in the wind was the strange fire. And as far as he knows, Kazama has now obtained 23 kinds of different fires. And the power of these different fires is more powerful than each other. But now Kazami actually didn't display these strange fires, but with ninjutsu alone, he beat himself and others to a series of defeats. Doesn't this mean that Kazama's strength has reached the pinnacle of perfection? If Kazama had just cast a different fire to fight against himself and others, I am afraid that he and others would not have a chance to fight back. Thinking of this, Naruto was shocked that a cold sweat broke out. He also immediately understood that the wind is indeed very arrogant and very powerful. At this time, the onlookers were shocked to see that Kazama really defeated the 5 shadows including Naruto by himself. All of them gave thumbs up. After all, they were very optimistic about the 5 shadows before, and they also felt that it was impossible for Kazama alone to defeat the 4 hands. But they never expected that Kazama is now really capable of fighting against 4 hands with 2 fists. He really defeated those 5 shadows and no shadows with his own strength, plus a super awesome Uchiha Sasuke. This kind of record is unprecedented, and no one has come since. And just when everyone was surprised, the referee had once again announced the start of the Chunin exam. At this time, the new generation of ninjas immediately competed vigorously to fight. After all, they all want to quickly become the crowd and acquire more powerful ninjutsu. And then become the existence of a super person like Kazama. At this time, after the 5 shadows, Uchiha Sasuke and others ended the battle, they also complimented Kei's first. Chapter 352 The Otsutsuki Trio Strikes. You must know that they are not flattering Fengjian now, but they admire Fengjian very much in their hearts. After all, they had never seen anyone who could defeat all 6 of them by themselves. In addition, they knew the strength of Kazami before. But they also really wanted to see how arrogant the wind was. But they didn't expect that the wind was not in a tie with him now. Instead, he directly slapped these people with bruises. If this was in the past, it was something they could never have expected. Therefore, they naturally admire Kazama very much in their hearts now. At this time, Fengjian was a person who didn't like to take credit and be arrogant. Therefore, as soon as he saw everyone complimenting him constantly, Fengjian waved his hand in embarrassment. Then he read to the crowd and said, I said everyone, don't compliment me. You also know that I have a very thin skin. Now let's take a look at the exams of these younger generations. Okay, no problem. At this time, everyone was already watching for Fengjian, so naturally they believed what Fengjian said. But just when everyone was preparing to watch this new generation of ninjas compete in the Chunin exam arena. But suddenly they saw a powerful attack falling from the sky, instantly blasting the arena below them into ruins. Then 3 ninjas in white clothes immediately appeared in front of everyone. This suddenly shocked Naruto and the other 5 shadows, because they had already felt the pressure of these 3 people. However, Fengjian was not shocked at all. Instead he immediately sneered at the 3 men in white. Otsutsuki trio that Kazama had been waiting for a long time. Also Otsutsuki Momoshiki, Otsutsuki Kinshiki, and Datong-ura. These 3 people were sent by the Otsutsuki family of the previous clan that day to collect the 9-tailed beasts. Then replant the ninja of the god tree on the earth. And these 3 people are also notoriously arrogant and domineering. They planted the divine tree on the earth, and the purpose was to suck all the ninja chakras on the earth, and then kill this kind of person. If Kazama didn't know about their conspiracy, he might not pay attention to them. But now Kazama already knows their conspiracy. Then Kazama could not forgive them anyway. At this time, the wind made a face-to-face effort and immediately came to the 3 of them. At this time, the 3 people didn't know whether the wind was high or low. Therefore, as soon as he saw that Fengjian was just a teenager, he naturally sneered at Fengjian. You little bastard, what are you? You dare to be arrogant in front of our trio of Otsutsuki. I'm telling you little bastard, how far you go now, because our goal is Kyubi, 9 tails, people Jinchuriki, column forces not you. Hehe, are you rubbish also qualified to talk nonsense in front of me? Kazama immediately sneered at the 3 of them. And listening to the trio of Otsutsuki, Kazama didn't take Kazama seriously. But now, when he saw Fengjian dare to laugh at them, the 3 of them were immediately furious. Therefore, with a face-to-face effort, he killed the wind towards the wind. Little Misty, today you will see the power of our celestial clan Otsutsuki. Otsutsuki Arashi rushed to Kazama first. But just when he thought he could kill Kazama in an instant, an unexpected scene suddenly happened. Chapter 353 Hanging Otsutsuki Arashi. It turned out that Kazama's ordinary eyes at this time directly turned into Rinnegan. After a face-to-face effort, Kazama performed the Shinra Tensai Almighty Push sign. Directly sent the Otsutsuki Ura style, as well as the other 3 groups of Otsutsuki Kinshiki and Otsutsuki Momoshiki flying hundreds of meters away. This sudden change made Na Otsutsuki's trio completely unexpected. It's not that the Otsutsuki trio are afraid of Kazama's Shinra Tensai, Almighty Push sign. But they never expected that an ordinary kid in their eyes would actually possess the Rinnegan pupil technique of their Otsutsuki clan. Shinra Tensai, Almighty Push Levy unleashed by Kazama is more powerful than the usual Shinra Tensai, Almighty Push Levy. After all, Kazama has now gathered all the different fires. Therefore, Funyun's own strength has also undergone earth-shaking changes. At this time, Naruto, Sasuke and other cage-level masters quickly stepped aside when they saw Kazama making a move. It's not that they like to watch dramas, but they know that Kazejian is so powerful now that they can't help in the past. If you say that you go up to help yourself, then not only will it not help Fengjian, but it may even be a disservice. So it's better to wait for the others to evacuate immediately, let Kazama let go of his hands and feet, and fight against the three Otsutsuki. After all, Naruto, Sasuke and others know the strength of Kazama very well. They also know that in this ninja world, no one is Kazama's opponent at all. No matter whether the Otsutsuki clan came from the sky, or from the ground, from the nine heavens or the netherworld, it was useless at all. After all, Fengjian is a monster-like genius. And at this time, Otsutsuki Ura saw that he had just eaten the first round, which made him laugh with anger. So that Otsutsuki Arashi came to Kazama again with a wild smile on his face. Okay kid, I didn't expect you to be really impressed by me now. A mediocre you can actually have Rinnegan, but I tell you, Rinnegan can only be owned by our Otsutsuki clan, so a little Rinnegan like you must believe it to our Otsutsuki clan. If you are sensible, you can gouge out your eyes, or I will let you live and die. Quote. That Otsutsuki Ura style finished speaking, Kazama made a face-to-face forehead effort, and immediately used the telekinesis technique to come behind this Otsutsuki. You know, Kazama doesn't have so much nonsense like Otsutsuki Ura style. From Kazama's point of view, the Otsutsuki trio are the most heinous and full of evil. Therefore, the wind must kill them. At this time, Otsutsuki never expected that, now Kazama not only has Rinnegan, but even the instant body technique is so fast. This suddenly surprised him, and then this Otsutsuki Ura style hurriedly cast Yomatsu Hirasaka, which was able to dodge Kazama's attack. At this time, Otsutsuki Arashiki saw that Kazama's attack did not hit him, and sneered at Kazama again proudly. Hee, how about the little stray hair? Do you think your attacks can hit all the hits? Let me tell you, I'm afraid you haven't even seen this technique of mine now, have you? Isn't that Yomatsu Hirasaka? What's so amazing? What? The wind said. Otsutsuki Arashiki was shocked. At this moment, even Otsutsuki Kinshiki and Otsutsuki Momoshiki on the other side were full of shock. Chapter 354 Hanging Otsutsuki Momo. Because this Yomatsu Hirasaka is a ninjutsu derived from the Rinnegan of their Datongmu family. Ordinary people don't even use it, they can't even know it. But now Fengjian is actually a face-to-face kung fu, and then the name of their technique was revealed, how could it not shock them? And at this time, that Otsutsuki Momoshiki immediately came to Otsutsuki Ura's side, and whispered to him, "This kid is weird, and now you are going to kill him with all your strength. Don't continue to waste time with him, otherwise there must be other changes in the long run." Quote. Hee, I said Xiao Dao. Don't let other people's ambition destroy your own prestige. This little brat can't be my opponent at all, and now he is so superb, and he knows our Otsutsuki clan. The forbidden technique, I naturally want to play with him and see what special ninjutsu he has. If his ninjutsu can arouse my interest, then I will naturally take it for my own use. Quote. This Otsutsuki Ura style does not listen to Otsutsuki Momoshiki's words at all. Instead, he immediately probed with one hand, and a yuhi-colored fishing rod immediately appeared in the crane's hand. Yuhi-colored fish basket appeared behind it. This is the Datong Mokpa style special ninja tool. This yuhi-light fishing rod can penetrate the opponent's body and fish the opponent's chakra. The people who were investigated for chakra were unable to gather chakra smoothly for a long time. So Kazama knew Otsutsuki well, but it wasn't this trick. However, the wind was not afraid at all. Because Kazama's body now has the strongest defense against volcanic stone flames. So even this Otsutsuki Ura-style yuhi-light fishing rod couldn't penetrate Kazama's body. At this time, Otsutsuki Arashiki still didn't know that Kazama's current ability could completely restrain him. Therefore, he smiled again and said to the wind, "Little Zamao, you are young, your strength is quite strong, but unfortunately, no matter how powerful you are, you can't be the opponent of our Otsutsuki clan." As soon as Otsutsuki's voice fell, he rushed to Kazama with a face-to-face effort. At this time, Naruto and Sasuke on the other side were shocked when they saw that Otsutsuki's Ura-style instant body technique was so fast. Because if it were them, they would not be able to escape no matter what. Pity that although Otsutsuki Ura's body instant technique is as fast as lightning, Kazama relies on his own Rinnegan. Still saw Otsutsuki's every move clearly. But Kazama didn't dodge it now, because Kazama wanted to stand and hang this Otsutsuki Ura style. Let this Otsutsuki Urashi know that he is not to be messed with. At this time, Otsutsuki Arashiki didn't know that Kazama was going to stand up and hang himself. He thought Fengjian hadn't reacted, so he let out a long laugh. He directly charged his Yuhi light fishing rod towards Kazama, hoping to penetrate Kazama's body. Then he fished out chakra from the Kazama body. But Otsutsuki Ura never expected this. Now his Yuhi fishing rod is invincible, invincible, and invincible. Not only did it not penetrate Fengyan's body, but even Fengyan's body was directly broken. This was so frightening that Otsutsuki Ura's style took a few steps back and broke out in cold sweat. Chapter 355 Hanging Otsutsuki Kim. Because Otsutsuki Ura has never seen anyone whose body can resist his Yuhi bear fishing rod. Although it is said that the Yuhi light fishing rod is broken, it can be automatically reconnected. But this still made Natsutsuki Urashi start sweating all over. At this time, Kazama sneered again and said to this Otsutsuki Arashiki, "Did I say you are here to fish now? Why are you still holding a tattered fishing rod? If you really want a fishing rod to deal with me, I advise you to get a good fishing rod, otherwise it is impossible for a rubbish rod like you to hurt me." It really pissed me off. At this time, Otsutsuki Arashiro saw that Kazama is now not afraid of his Yuhi light fishing rod. He even laughed loudly at himself, which naturally made that Otsutsuki Ura's style furious and furious. After this, Otsutsuki Arashiki wanted to attack the Kazama again. Then he suddenly said secretly, "Although this little brat's body defense is strong, no matter how strong a person is, it is impossible to defend 360 degrees. If I can start from the key point behind him, maybe able to penetrate his body, as long as I penetrate his body with my Yuhi light fishing rod, I can call out his chakra and, as long as this little bastard has no chakra, I see how he is arrogant." Thinking of this, Otsutsuki Ura's style immediately cast Yomatsu Hirasaka with lightning speed. Then a face-to-face effort opened up another space behind the wind. Then Otsutsuki Urachi used Yomatsu Hirasaka to sneak behind Kazama quietly. Hoped to use this to penetrate Kazami's body. Because Otsutsuki Arashiki thought that Kazama saw through his attack earlier, he set up a defense in advance. Now he thinks that as long as he can avoid the eyes of the wind, then you can easily kill that wind room. But what Otsutsuki Ura didn't expect was that now his Yuhi fishing rod is still the same as before, broken again by Kazama's hard body. At this time, Kazama peeked out with one hand, and immediately grabbed Otsutsuki Ura's style's neck through Yomatsu Hirasaka. The one who grabbed the Otsutsuki Ura's style was pale, and his breath was in and out. At this time, Otsutsuki Kinshiki and Otsutsuki Momoshiki were watching the battle. However, I never expected that the strength of Otsutsuki Ura's style, which was not weaker than theirs, was completely restrained by Kazama in a few rounds. At this time, Otsutsuki Kinshiki hurriedly said to Otsutsuki Momoshiki, who was the master. "I said, Master, now this Otsutsuki Urashiki is also our teammate. Shall we help him now?" "Hehe, you don't have to worry, although Otsutsuki Ura is temporarily at a disadvantage now, it is impossible for him to be killed by just a little stray hair on the earth. If that is the case, then this Otsutsuki Ura is the A-bum, a bum is not worthy for us to rescue him." And at this time because of this Otsutsuki Momoshiki spoke very loudly. Otsutsuki Ura's style who was caught by Kazama with one hand, of course, heard it clearly. Then Otsutsuki Ura's style sneered, and then cast Yomatsu Hirasaka again, escaping from Kazama's hand. And at this time, when Kazama saw this Otsutsuki Ura style, he was surprised that the Yomatsu Hirasaka was using the perfection. Chapter 356 I Just Hang. You must know that although Kazama can now easily hang this Otsutsuki Ura style. But if this Otsutsuki Ura style can perform Yomatsu Hirasaka, then the scenery may really have no way to kill him for a while. After all, this Yomatsu Hirasaka is the ultimate space art. If Otsutsuki escaped with the help of this Yomatsu Hirasaka, Kazama really can't do anything about him. And at this time, the Otsutsuki Ura style, when he saw his ninja gear, Yuhi's bear fishing rod, couldn't do anything about it, he immediately became furious and furious. Don't look at Otsutsuki Ura's style's special politeness before. But now as long as others anger him, he will become arrogant and domineering, showing off his power. Therefore, this Otsutsuki Ura style face-to-face kung fu immediately performed the Rinnegan technique. This Rinnegan coercion technique is very similar to the Shinra Tensei Almighty Push sign. It's just that the Shinra Tensei Almighty Push sign released a shock wave. And what this Rinnegan coercion released was the blade shock wave. Then that Shinra Tensei Almighty Push sign. At this time, Otsutsuki Kinshiki and Otsutsuki Momoshiki, who were watching the battle, saw that Otsutsuki Arashiki actually performed this extremely chakra-intensive Rinnegan pupil technique, which surprised them again. So they hurriedly flew into the air. Because if they don't dodge, then even they may be killed by Otsutsuki Ura style, the reincarnation coercive technique. After all, this Rinnegan coercion technique is a 360-degree shock wave. At this time, Feng-shi saw that Otsutsuki Ura-style Rinnegan coercion technique was so powerful, that he immediately smiled coldly in his heart. Rushed directly towards this technique, because Kazama wanted to absorb this Rinnegan coercion technique and use it as his own. At this time, Otsutsuki Ura-style did not know that Kazama had the ability to absorb ninjutsu and use it for himself. Therefore, as soon as he saw that Kazama dared to rush towards the Rinnegan coercion he released, he immediately sneered. Hee, you little bastard, I said that you were really a stupid person. My Rinnegan coercion technique is invincible and invincible. You are the only one who wants to use your physical body to resist me. The Rinnegan coercion, I think you're a fool. In this Otsutsuki Ura style, when he kept laughing at the wind. However, he suddenly found that his Rinnegan coercion could not hurt Kazama even one bit. It was even completely absorbed into the body by the wind. This suddenly surprised Otsutsuki. Ding! Successfully absorbed Rinnegan's coercion. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Rinnegan's super coercion, which can release a 720-degree knife net shockwave. He felt that he had obtained a ninjutsu that was even more powerful than that Rinnegan's coercion. To know the previous Rinnegan coercion, only a blade-like shockwave can be released. Although it is particularly sharp and powerful, if it encounters a ninja with super perception, it can still be avoided. But the Rinnegan coercion that Kazama has obtained now can release the shockwave of the knife net. It was a seamless attack. No matter how powerful the enemy's perception is, there is no way to avoid it. At this time, Otsutsuki Ura style, but he did not know that Kazama had absorbed his own ninjutsu and evolved into a more powerful ninjutsu. Therefore, when he saw that Kazama was now safe and sound under the pressure of his Rinnegan, he was shocked. Chapter 357 Hanging Otsutsuki Threesome. At this time, Otsutsuki Daoshi immediately rushed to the side of Otsutsuki Jin and said, "There is something strange about the small hair in the wind. We must help Otsutsuki Arashi right now, otherwise, if we really let him kill Otsutsuki Arashi, then it will be impossible. It's the loss of our Otsutsuki clan." Okay, no problem. This is that Otsutsuki Kinshiki, as the most loyal servant of the Dao clan, immediately prepares to shoot in the wind. But just when Daoshi and Jinshi were preparing to take action in the wind, Kazama probed with one hand, and immediately cast Rinnegan's super coercion technique. At this time, waiting for the Otsutsuki trio to react. Kazama's knife net-shaped shockwave killed the Otsutsuki trio in one face-to-face effort. Facing the inevitable attack, the Otsutsuki trio felt the fear of death for the first time in their lives. At this time, Otsutsuki Ura hurriedly cast Yomatsu Hirasaka, which barely avoided Kazama's attack. And Otsutsuki Kinshiki immediately virtualized his body and brought himself and Otsutsuki Peach into a different space. Only in this way did Kazama's current sharp attack be avoided. At this time, as the trio of Otsutsuki appeared again, the eyes they looked at Kazama were different. Previously, they looked down on Fengjian very much. But now, the eyes they looked at Fengjian were full of shock. After all, the abilities that Kazami is showing now have far exceeded their expectations. It also subverted their worldview far. They never thought that a human being on Earth could actually perform ninjutsu even more powerful than their Otsutsuki clan. This is something they never dreamed of. At this time, Otsutsuki Arashiki also understood that he could not be Kazama's opponent at all. So he immediately said to Otsutsuki Kinshiki and Otsutsuki, "Ni, I know you two had some grudges against me before, but now this little bastard is the enemy of our Otsutsuki clan. If we want to capture that Kyubi Nine-Tails Jinchuriki column force, we have to kill this little bastard. If we are in a wheel battle, all three of us will be defeated by the little bastard, so we must now use up do your best so that you can completely kill this little stray hair." Nonsense, do you still need to say that? At this time, Otsutsuki Momoshiki had already inquired about the idea. After a face-to-face effort, he and Otsutsuki Kim took the lead in killing the wind. At this time, Otsutsuki Ura also performed a secondary evolution and became a monster like a bird, and its strength was also enhanced a lot. But even if these three people are awesome, no matter how powerful they are, it looks like garbage in that wind room. The 23 kinds of different fires in Kazama's body now, just rely on Kazama's superpower of Rinnegan's coercion. You can easily hang these three people. At this time, the three people didn't know that Kazama was infinite chakra. Therefore, they thought that Kazama had already exerted the super powerful Rinnegan super coercion before. Then the wind must have consumed a lot of physical strength now. So he immediately rushed to the wind and sneered. "Xiaozamao, although your strength is very strong, but the ninjutsu you just failed to kill us, then your chakra is definitely not enough now, so now it's our turn to kill you." Quote. Chapter 358 Pissing Otsutsuki Threesome. Hee, the three of you really like inexplicable optimism. I have infinite chakra in the wind. Fuck, who do you think you are? Unlimited chakra. Just when the three of Otsutsuki sneered at Kazama's words, suddenly found that Kazama once again cast Rinnegan super coercion technique on them. This suddenly scared the three of them into a cold sweat. So they hurriedly used their ability to escape again. It's a pity that the current Rinnegan's super coercive attack speed is too fast. A face-to-face effort, they hit the Otsutsuki trio. At this time, Otsutsuki Arashiki was the most cunning and treacherous of the three. Once he saw Fengyan's strength so awesome, he knew that if he confronted the trend head-on, he would have no chance of winning at all. So this Otsutsuki Ura style immediately cast Yomatsu Hirasaka while the chaos was running away. At this time, Otsutsuki Kinshiki and Otsutsuki Momoshiki had been bruised by the wind. Although they have super repair ability, they still seem quite embarrassed now. At this time, Otsutsuki Momoshiki saw their teammate Otsutsuki Arashiki and fled first, which made him furious and furious. Immediately afterward, he said fiercely to the fleeing Otsutsuki Urasaki, "Otsutsuki Urasaki is really a rubbish. Don't let me see him again, or I will definitely smash his corpse into pieces and smash his bones into ashes." "Master, don't worry, as long as this Otsutsuki-ku style dares to appear in front of us next time, I will try my best to make it into a demon pill for you to devour." "Hee, I said you too, now instead of yelling at the Otsutsuki Ura style who escaped here, you might as well think about how to fight against me." You must be proud, you little bastard. That Otsutsuki Momoshiki has always been fearless. Now that he sees this Fengjian dare to laugh at himself one after another, he is naturally furious and violent. So this Otsutsuki Daoshi immediately changed his pair of Rinnegan's into Yuhi-colored Rinnegan's. At this time, Feng Shi did feel that Otsutsuki Dao's pair of Yuhi-colored Rinnegan's are indeed much more powerful than their own pair of purple Rinnegan's. But Kazama is still not afraid at all, because Kazama not only has Rinnegan, but also has the reincarnation Sharingan of 9 Tomo. So Kazama can still easily hang this Otsutsuki Peach. At this time, Otsutsuki Momo didn't know that Kazama had that super awesome Samsara Sharingan. Therefore, he immediately sneered and said into the wind, I tell you, Xiaoza Mao, although your strength is very powerful now, although you can frighten that Otsutsuki Ura style and flee, you are still a piece of garbage in front of me. You are still not my opponent. As soon as Otsutsuki Momoshiki's voice fell, he and his subordinate, Otsutsuki Kinshiki, immediately killed him towards the wind. Kazama smiled coldly after looking at it, and once again used Rinnegan's super coercion technique. Although Kazama will have countless spells, Kazama feels that Rinnegan's super coercion is particularly cool. Therefore, Kazama naturally wants to use it several times. But Kazami didn't expect that now, this technique of his own is resolutely displayed. Otsutsuki Momoshiki's pair of Yuhi-colored Rinnegans actually completely absorbed the super pressure of his own Rinnegan into his body. This suddenly shocked the wind again. You must know that the Rinnegan super coercion that Kazama is currently exerting is very powerful. Even Rinnegan's hungry ghost realm couldn't absorb it smoothly. But now this Otsutsuki Momoshiki has absorbed it seriously, which naturally makes Kazama deeply admire. Hehe, it seems that this is the ability of your Yuhi-colored Rinnegan. Nonsense, I told you Xiaoza Mao in the wind, I said that you are not our opponent, you can't be our opponent, and now your ninjutsu has no effect on me. Oh, really? Seeing that this Otsutsuki Dao clan only absorbed a mere Rinnegan's super coercion, he dared to be arrogant in front of him. That Kazama sneered immediately, so he used Rinnegan's super coercion dozens of times in a row. This suddenly scared that Otsutsuki Momoshiki fell out of cold sweat. Because he knew that this technique was very chakra-consuming. But he never expected that Kazama was not only used one after another before. Now he can still perform dozens of times in one breath. At this time, Otsutsuki Daoshi really realized that Kazama really has infinite chakra. Because the dozens of Rinnegan coercion techniques in the wind are too awesome and too powerful. So even Otsutsuki's Yuhi-color Rinnegan is somewhat insufferable these days. And at this time, the wind immediately cast a different fire and swallowed the flames. Although it is said that the most powerful different fire in the wind is the first Emperor Yan. However, in the battle against the enemy, Kazami has always liked to torture the enemy step by step. Wouldn't it be too boring to kill the enemy in one fell swoop? And Kazama also knows that if it is an ordinary strange fire, it may face the fate of being absorbed by Otsutsuki Momo. But now the third-ranked void-swallowing flame is not an existence that Otsutsuki Momoshiki can absorb. And at this time, just as Kazama thought, now his nihilistic swallowing flame has appeared. A face-to-face effort, the Otsutsuki peach was burned and rolled all over the floor, wailing endlessly. Bastard! How dare you insult my Otsutsuki clan? At this moment, a huge figure rushed towards Fengjian. Chapter 359 Come to another space again. And this figure that suddenly appeared was Otsutsuki Kim, the servant of Otsutsuki Dao. Don't look at that Otsutsuki Kim as just a follower, but his strength should not be underestimated. And he also mastered the art of space, a face-to-face kung fu. Before Kazama could react, this Otsutsuki Jin immediately inhaled Kazama into the different space. At this time, Fengjian came to this different dimension and took a closer look, only to realize that he had been sucked into another parallel dimension. Although this is also the Hokage world, it is also the village of Konoha. But the people here do not know the wind. Moreover, Fengyan's own Fenju system also disappeared, which suddenly surprised Fengjian. Kill the tail of this crane. Just when Fengjian felt confused about his sudden crossing. Suddenly surrounded by a group of teenagers, Fengjian was knocked to the ground with 3 punches and 2 feet. Boy, how dare you sue me for a protection fee, today I have to make you crippled, anyway, no one cares if you rubbish is dead. Hearing the words of the person in front of him, the memories of Kazejian's crossing followed one after another. He is now reborn in a boy named Sanada Kazama from the Konoha ninja village. And this Sanada Kazama is the tail of the crane in the ninja school, so he has been ridiculed and bullied by his classmates all the year round. The person who is now asking for protection money is Shimura Ichiro. His grandfather Shimura Danzo, this person is domineering and bullying the weak all day long. Damn. Shimura Ichiro sneering towards him with kunai in hand. The wind was suddenly shocked. I've just crossed over, is this going to be beaten up and disabled? Ding. Just when Fengjian felt extremely anxious, he suddenly heard a voice in his mind. Congratulations to the host who has crossed into the Hokage world, and the system will become stronger if you charge money for the host. I got the system. Hearing the voice in his head, Fengjian felt extremely excited. As a fan of online novels, he understands the role of the system very well. With the system, as a waste, he also has the qualifications for a gorgeous counterattack. This system includes all ninjutsu, taijutsu, pupil jutsu, demonic illusion, and spiritism in the Hokage world. As long as the host charges money, all skills can be obtained instantly. Recharge 100. Any skill can be used. Kazama hurriedly handed over the remaining $100 to the system. Because at this time Shimura Ichiro was ready to attack him. Ding. Purchase Kaden Fire Style Great Fireball Jutsu Success. Ding. Congratulations to the host for spending 100 for the first time, rewarding the host with 100,000 detonating charms, unlimited chakra. Damn it. 10,000 detonating talismans and unlimited chakra, this reward is too awesome. Hearing that he had won the Kaden Fire Style Great Fireball Jutsu and the system's reward, Kazama immediately laughed happily. Boy, you can still laugh when you're about to die. Shimura Ichiro didn't know that Kazama already had the ability to hang him, so he cursed at Kazama again. It's not that I'm dying, but you are dying. Kazama said, and directly took out a detonating talisman and stuck it on Shimura Ichiro's head. I rely on. Shimura Ichiro panicked when he saw Kazama sticking the detonating talisman on his head. At this time, Fengshi had already withdrawn to 10 meters away. Chapter 360 The shot is 3,000 detonation charms. Blast. Then the detonating talisman exploded instantly. That mighty power seemed quite shocking in this silent night. Fortunately, Shimura Ichiro picked it fast, otherwise his life would be over. Damn, you dare to play with me, the tail of the crane. Shimura Ichiro, who had been blasted to the ground, could not wait to tear Kazama to pieces at this time. In his eyes, the wind room is notoriously useless as the tail of a crane. But now he has been put aside by this useless person, how can he bear it? The detonating talisman is very expensive. Where did this poor boy get the detonating talisman? At this time, the few little scoundrels on the other side were also stunned by this hand of the wind. No matter where he got it, anyway, the family at the end of the crane has fallen into disrepair, and taking out a detonating talisman is his limit. I don't believe he still has it. Furious, Shimura Ichiro immediately ordered his subordinates to attack Kazama. All shuriken and kunai were thrown at Kazama. It's a pity that they are not real ninjas, but students who have not graduated from the ninja school. Therefore, neither the strength nor the accuracy is up to the standard. And the wind is far away from them. So dodging these shuriken and kunai attacks is easy. Humph. Just now there was only a detonating talisman that couldn't be thrown out. Now that you have the shuriken and kunai thrown over by you, I see how arrogant you are. At this time, Fengji smiled and took out dozens of detonating talismans. all tied to these shuriken and kunai. Then it was all thrown away at once. Although the strength and precision of the wind rune were not good. However, the explosive power of the detonating talisman perfectly made up for this shortcoming. Burst. 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 In this silent night, with the continuous explosions in the mouth of the wind. The explosions of the dozens of detonating talismans were one after another, one after another. The violent power immediately raged, and even the trees in the forest were pushed down layer by layer. Shimura Ichiro and the others were bruised and bruised. Bastard, if I don't kill you today, I'll take your surname. Seeing that he was being humiliated by the tail of the crane in Kazama, Shimura Ichiro was furious. Immediately, Hand Seal began to prepare to perform a ninjutsu attack between the winds. Si Wei Shen. It's the great fireball jutsu. Boss, you're amazing. Seeing Shimura Ichiro's hand seal, the little gangsters immediately became excited. Little Misty Kazama, this time you are doomed. This great fireball jutsu is AC rank ninjutsu, but Chunin can be a master. Hearing the ridicule of these little scoundrels, Fengjian couldn't help sneering. Because he also just mastered great fireball jutsu, and he is more skilled than Shimura Ichiro. Because Shimura Ichiro is now hand seal, making mistakes again and again. Shimura Ichiro, you can hand seal even the lowest level of great fireball jutsu wrong. I said you are a waste. What? How dare you look down on me, you bastard? Seeing that he was being laughed at by the tailwind of the crane, Shimura Ichiro was furious. But now the more angry he is, the more unable to successfully hand seal. Okay, I'll show you my great fireball jutsu next. What? You will cast the great fireball jutsu, dream about you. Hearing Kazama's words, Shimura Ichiro and the others immediately burst into laughter.